Yo, what's going on, guys? Alan F. Reddy here from JLaw B Ball, Digital Marketing Director, and we have on the line Drew Lasker from drewlasker.com. He also used to run DBSD training, but he kind of pivoted his brand towards Drew Lasker. Also does train harder and also plays professionally for the Newcastle Eagles. Drew,
Yes,
what's going on, my man?
what's going on, Alan? How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining us on the call.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So for those of you like kind of just new to this or listening to this, Jordan Lawley has been launching a Trainer's Guide to Success series, and we've been doing interviews of people who have been in the program and really getting their feedback on how we can improve the program or just really to really better understand and help people who are thinking about joining or need help today. So Drew, to kind of give our viewers a background, give us a little bit about your story, my man.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I'm a 14-year professional for the Newcastle Eagles out in Newcastle, England, and my journey is kind of it's unlike many professional athletes. I've been playing basketball since I was very young. I traveled the world. I'm a military kid. My dad's in the army, so I started off really young, traveling a lot. But once we kind of got stable in one spot out in a small town out of Houston, Texas. It's called Katy, Texas. For the eighth grade basketball team, I made the C team. And that was kind of the turning point in my basketball journey. That's when I was always serious about basketball. I always loved it. But at that point, that's when I kind of got slapped in the face with reality that my goals of making an NBA and these big dreams and things that I had, if I wanted to really reach them, that I was going to have to take my training and everything up to a new level. So that's probably, now that I think of it hindsight, that's kind of where my training as a trainer my journey kind of began, because that's when I began training myself. Once I made the eighth grade C team that next summer, preparing for high school, I was outside at my local park. I never went to a basketball camp, never had a private trainer, any of those things coming up. I was basically just training myself. So, I went from the eighth grade C team to end up making the ninth grade A team, and then kind of
Right
fast
on.
forward a little bit, so, the work, that hard work that summer definitely paid off. And fast forward into high school, ended up being on varsity for 2 years. And funny enough, my senior year, I only had one offer. That was to a junior college out in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty long story, but I'll just cut it short. Basically ended up getting a scholarship at a school out in San Diego called Christian Heritage College through an open gym pickup ball. Basically, he was playing
Okay.
pickup ball and going at one of these guys. He kind of asked me where I was going to school. I told him I was going to a junior college. He said, "Hey, our two guard just got diagnosed with severe. Was his fourth concussion. His basketball career is over." So my coach told me to look out for another guy, and I think you fit the bill. So once he told me San Diego, I was on board. Send my film to the coach, and the rest is history. I ended up following my coach to Point Loma University, where I ended up finishing my basketball career, which is not far from where Jordan went to school, which was at UCSD. I'm a little bit older than Jordan, but we played them a couple years while I was at Point Loma. And then the journey doesn't stop there. I was a 2-year All-American guard there for the NAIA division, but obviously becoming pro is a lot tougher for a small school kid like myself. And so I had to earn it. So I ended up going with the traveling team for a year,
Mm-hmm.
traveling all across Europe and the United States. And on the very last leg of the trip, ended up getting picked up by a team in England. And fast forward, I've been here for 14 years. So just a kind of crazy journey, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, that's amazing, and that's actually crazy with like all the concussions on like and just how serendipity that is. I didn't know like is that a common thing for basketball people to get a lot of concussions or just that guy had that luck?
Not really. It was just, I mean, I've been playing basketball a long time, and I don't think I've ever had a teammate or anyone have a concussion. But
Oh,
apparently, this guy who I actually ended up meeting afterwards, because he ended up finishing school there, he
yeah.
just he just was unlucky. He just had a couple of concussions running into that. I don't know exactly how it happened, but yeah, it's uncommon, but it's just crazy how things work out. You know, one man's loss is another man's gain, and that gain ended up being, you know, beneficial for me.
So all the while you were doing like training and traveling professionally, you launched your own brand. Tell me more about that and like how that was for you. With the DBSD, Train Harder, and now Drew Lasker.
Well, my first year overseas, I didn't make a lot of money, and and so, you know, obviously preparing for that next season, I really wanted to focus on my game, and obviously I didn't have enough money that was going to leave me the whole summer in order to, you know, carry me over. So, you know, I worked a couple basketball camps, and the thing I didn't want to do is work a full-time job because I wanted to dedicate my summer to keep improving as a basketball player. So I
Mm-hmm.
worked a few basketball camps that summer, and locally in the Houston area. And, you know, at one particular camp out in Katy, there were two kids that came up to me and asked me would I work with them. And so that summer I ended up working with those two kids, had no experience with training whatsoever, was just kind of putting them through drills and things that I do myself. And that's how it kind of started. And so that next summer, that's when I founded DBSD, which is Drew's Basketball Skill Development, and started the program that summer. And I had two clients on, and you know, that little money I made, you know, with those two clients was enough to kind of tick me over during the summer, just to kind of take care of the small essentials you know, um, while not having to reach into my basketball money, which wasn't a lot at the time, but it was
Mm-hmm.
just enough money for me to, you know, to go out with my friends and do, you know, a little social bit. So, you know, and over time, you know, at that time, this was 2007. This is before personal, you know, basketball training became what it is now.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of going with the flow with it. I had no kind of plans for it. I was just kind of going with it, just using it as just, you know, something to make some extra income. And
Mm-hmm.
then the following summer, that, you know, two clients built up to five. And then over time, I was like, you know, I kind of thought about it. I was like, maybe I can kind of turn this into a little business. So I kind of went on Vistaprint, designed me a website myself,
Yeah.
got me some business cards. You know, Vistaprint, then, you know, you can use them for everything. And that's how, you know, my journey kind of got started. And over time, as I am still today, I just kind of just go where the business has taken me. I haven't really set out any goals for it. So I've kind of gotten better with it over time, you know, kind of
Mm-hmm.
now at a point where I can, you know, outsource work for the, people like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
to design my website and help me with my marketing and things like that. And so that's how I got started in the training business.
Okay. And so kind of to pivot along with Trainer's Guide. So, I think with a lot of people I've spoken with, like from my own business in digital marketing, but also, I've reached out to other people in Trainer's Guide. Um,
Mhm.
it kind of starts off as like, just having the love for basketball, but then like, realizing it'd be a business. Where would you say, you know, Jordan's help has, helped transform your business or even your game? And like, what would you like to say about that in regards to Trainer's
Well,
Guide
one well
success?
one one thing I want to mention first, the reason why I ended up purchasing Jordan's program is because I kind of stumbled across him on Instagram, as you know, as I follow a couple of national basketball trainers, and
Mm-hmm.
got, you know felt a connection with the way he trained. I
Mm-hmm.
saw some similarities into that, and because I am a current professional, this is only something that I do during the summer. And I understood that Jordan does this full time and he's able to do this as a career. So
Mm-hmm.
I purchased a program because I wanted to kind of see, um, if this could be something for me post basketball career, and kind of see exactly how he runs it and kind of see the ins and outs and answer a lot of questions that I kind of had in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And going through the program, because I've been running my program since 2007, I've been doing it a long time. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it kind of validated everything that I'm already currently doing, which was great for me. It kind of showed me and told me, okay, the things that I am doing, I'm on the right track, and this is something that I can, post career, take to another level once I'm done with my basketball career. But on the other hand, there was a lot of little things, that I learned in that actually uplifted my program this past summer. Things as far as pricing. Pricing is always kind of a subject that trainers don't really want to touch.
Yeah.
You don't really want to go too high. You don't want to go too low. So that was kind of a battle that I was battling with. And now that training is becoming, the market is becoming flooded, especially that I'm the area that I am in now. And for me, I kind of felt like, that I shouldn't, because I have way more experience than a lot of guys in my area. I am a professional basketball player. My resume is much better than a lot of these guys. I
Hmm.
didn't feel it was fair for myself to be charging the same prices as these other guys. But on the other hand, I didn't want to outprice myself and go too high. But going through Jordan's program, he gave me the confidence that I can raise my prices. And it was one thing that he said in there: you might lose 2 or 3 clients, but at the end of the day, it's kind of similar. It's similar to the high end brands, kind of like Gucci and Louis Vuitton and that type of thing, that everybody can afford it, but
Hmm.
that is the best of the best. So that's kind of how he made me look and view my program in that same light, that my program might not be affordable for everybody, and that but at the same time, I feel like I'm the best in the area and I got the resume to back it up. So
Hmm.
that was one thing that kind of helped me, along with a lot of other things. And but that was one main thing that I took from the program that helped me.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, especially speaking on like pricing, to kind of go into that, like another, because when Jordan was releasing the program, he would always like send me the videos and I'd watch them, and it helped my own business. But something I've also kind of built upon what he said, and like now running my business in its fourth year, it's like I really see like pricing as almost like a barrier, right? Because sometimes if you just let everyone in, like you don't get the right clients that are a fit or a match for you, right?
Exactly.
So it's really like reframing it in your mind of, you know, you're here to train the people who want to be trained, and one part of it is having that pricing model in place.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that kind of sheds away the kids that don't really want to be there, and the kids that's kind of getting dropped out because their parents are forcing them. Once you take your price to a certain level, every
Hmm.
kid that's paying those prices, they're there because they want to be there and they want to get better. And so that's a big thing as well.
Awesome. So besides pricing, like in your own experience, like what would you say or like things to watch out for as a new trainer or someone getting into the space?
Um, that's a great question, because I have a lot of people that reach out to me all the time that's trying to get into the business, and I always say, kind of, you want to start low. You can't, I always call it pocket watch. Don't try to watch what anyone else is doing. How much you obviously want to see what the market is charging. But at the end of the day, if you're a new trainer, if you're a beginner, you don't want to be charging the same prices as guys that's maybe have a high level of playing experience, and also um, that has the experience of training for a while. So, by starting off low, you're going to be able to draw in clientele. Um, and it's going to take pressure off of you, because your prices are low. It'll be an opportunity for you to improve your craft as a trainer. Whereas if you start off high as a new trainer, there's going to be high expectations out of you. And the thing, and at the end of the day, in this business, all you have is your reputation. And
Hmm.
in your whatever community that you live in, the community talks, and parents talk, and everyone talks, and they share information and share programs that they use. If they love it, they're going to tell everybody. If they hate it, they're going to tell everybody. So start off small and slowly build yourself up, and as you begin to grow, that's when your prices can follow suit, or
Awesome.
should follow suit.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that because I think a lot of times, Jordan talks about this, but I also add on like with some of my own knowledge. You know, I think it's people get too quick into wanting to scale big when you really need
Yeah,
to figure out like your local market or, even that one person, like master that one customer and that one avatar, and
yeah,
then kind of realize that there's a lot of similarities of what got you success with landing your first client to getting your other clients.
Yeah, and that's a great point because even for me, and I've even got some advice off of you for that, as my program has begun to grow and begin to evolve, and
Hmm.
now I'm starting to get into videography with my program, and I see trainers such as Jordan and other trainers out there, and they have this great videography, and
Hmm.
and you kind of gave me some advice. Is do just film at the level that you're at. I don't have to, I see these guys and I kind of felt like I had to get the top videographers and this great stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't have access to that kind of resources at this time and moment. So just, I'm filming it with an iPad, and
Hmm.
once and it's worked great, so just stay at your level, and you'll grow. The business will grow with you. You'll grow with the business.
Hmm. Perfectly worded. One thing I also want to add for viewers is like, what are some of the, I guess in your opinion, knowing what you know now about your business, like what are some things that could have helped you grow faster, or what would you share for people listening?
That's a tricky one because everything that I know now is only because I've gone through what I've gone through.
Hmm.
You only know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. And for when I started this business, it wasn't as much information out there. Instagram wasn't even alive then. It wasn't
Yeah.
even active, and so you know there was no kind of like guideline for me to follow. I was just kind of going with the flow. I mean, I would say for a new trainer, there's a lot more resources out there, a lot more information out there, and I would just say, just reach out to other trainers and just try to get as much information as you can. Try to learn from other people. That's one thing that I try to do, and I look at Jordan and other guys that's on his level, and I try to learn from them. And but for me personally, I wouldn't say there's anything in particular that I could have done differently because there was nothing for me to do differently because I didn't know there was nothing out there. But if I
Hmm.
had to start it all over again and I was a new trainer in this day and time, I would just do my homework. I would, be on Instagram following all the guys that's doing it and, DMing them because a lot of the guys, they're great at messaging you back. You think they won't, but most of them do. They're really good at that. They're great at sharing information. That's one thing that I learned is that they're accessible. And so if you ask, most of the time you'll get an answer back. So just ask questions, research, and one big thing that I also took away from Jordan's program, it was a quote that I always use and that everyone uses. They say, "It's not what you know, is who you know,"
Hmm.
and that's kind of how I've always lived my life. But one thing he mentions in the program is not who you know, is who knows you, and that kind of really stuck with me because it's true. And that's one thing that I already do anyway, but I kind of took that to another level, kind of doing it not only like visually, physically, but even like on the internet. So like commenting on people's posts all the time, DMing them all the time. So now when they see that your comment, they say, "Oh, that's that guy. I know that guy. He's messaged me before. If he's
Hmm.
commented before." So that's one big thing that I took out of his program is that is who knows you, and the only way people know you is that if you got to show face, you got to show up. Anything that's going on in my community, I'm there. I'm showing up. I'm showing face. I'm letting people know who I am, and I'm always out in the community. So that's a big thing that stuck with me in this program
Hmm. I think they say like now, like the biggest thing in life that gets you success is just showing up, right?
for
I think I've
sure.
heard that quote before, and so it's funny how in like today's age now it's like showing up digitally to at least respond to the community, and then when there are events, right, then you'll get invited to those in-person events.
Exactly. But I
Awesome.
mean, if you think about it, it's even better to do it digitally because you don't even have to leave your couch. All you got to do is hop on your phone or your computer. So
Yeah.
there's definitely no excuse. I mean, when you talk about showing up in person, there's a thousand excuses you can throw out. I got to do this. I got to do that. I don't have time. I got to work. But
Hmm.
digitally, there's no excuses because you can do it 24/7 around the clock. So
Hmm.
it's there. You just got to make it happen. You got to be a go getter.
Exactly. So I guess kind of to wrap up how Jordan's program and also like helping your own business, like what challenges would you say um, is like the hardest thing now, and why?
Um, I would say, I mean, I would say for me is kind of taking that next step to, because my goal is to become the best trainer out there, is to become a national trainer. That's the only kind of goal that I've set for myself personally. As far as like a program, like I said earlier, I just kind of going wherever this business, wherever the program takes me. But
Hmm.
while it takes me wherever it takes me, my mindset is to become the best of the best and to become nationally and nationally known, worldly known. And so I guess the challenge is taking that next step, how to take that next step. And for me, there's some little things slowly beginning to happen. As far as like sponsorship deals and connections with other people. And
Hmm.
that's one thing that I learned in the program as well, following Jordan's program, that you know there's other things that come with this, and that you have to be prepared for, with the sponsorships and kind of connecting with other companies and connecting with other businesses. So for me, it's kind of having that balance while I'm still an active player. I think it would be a little bit easier if I was devoted to this full time, but I'm kind of splitting this in between, being a professional athlete, which takes up a lot of my time as well. So I would say that's probably the biggest challenge, is taking that next step to where
Hmm.
I can become one of the best trainers out there. And
Hmm.
and for me, and the why question, and the why is just because I'm splitting that in between other things. And but for me, there's no excuses. I want to be able to be the first that's an active professional basketball player and a professional, nationally known trainer. So
Hmm.
that's something that's unprecedented, and that's something that I want to accomplish. So I'm just trying to figure out how to do it.
Hmm. Awesome. And I kind of want to circle back on your point because just for clarity and like because if you were listening, you noticed some instances where Drew was talking about how I've helped him or had content in there. So in the trainer's guide, I've actually have some of my own modules as the digital marketing director of Jordan Lawley's brand. I put in some content on like making websites, making sales pages. So if any of that stuff is confusing to you or you're just learning Facebook ads or stuff of that nature, that's also in the program. But one of the added benefits that I want to talk about, and we're also trying to revamp this in Trainer's Guide and also as a relaunch, is Drew really mentioning about reaching out to people and how they're responsive. I think that's maybe one of the biggest things that we're trying to. We've had some success in our Trainer's Guide with our private Instagram channel, but really getting the community of trainers together to help each other build their own businesses. So Drew, I would ask as almost like a final question, where are ways that people can connect with you? And what is the best way to reach out to you if they have any questions on, what you do on a business, or if they have questions about Jordan's program, where can they find you?
Well, I'm active on all the social media accounts. You can find me on my Instagram, Drew Lasker 21. I'm very active on there. Also, you can find me on Facebook, Drew Lasker 21 as well. And my handle is actually the same on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you can find me on all those channels. You can find me on my website, drewlasker.com. And a lot of people reach out to me, and I do take time out to message back, and to share the knowledge that I have, because I know it might be a lot of you guys that's out there that's not on Jordan's level, but you might be on my level, and so you might be able to relate to me a little bit more so than Jordan.
Hmm.
And so feel free. I'm an open book. I'm willing to share, and willing to meet new people, new trainers out there. This is a community, and one thing we got to do is we got to kind of stick together so we all can grow. It's enough out there for everyone to benefit uh, from this. So um, let's do it together.
Awesome. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview with Drew Lasker. And if you have any questions, reach out to him, reach out to Jordan, or reach out to me. It's Alan Nafferetti. You can find me on my tags or go on my website, alannaffa.com. And yeah, Drew, appreciate you being on the line for us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Alan. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, take care.